Hello friends and children, Namaskar. Myself Ratnadip Acharya. I welcome you all in this storytelling, story writing, story devising session. This is the first session we will do and it will follow by a few more. This session will chiefly be for children, something ranging between 5 years of age and 10 or 12, preteen specifically. So thanks Walcott for approaching me for this session. So before I begin, there are certain points I would like to mention regarding storytelling and story devising, as this is for the children between a preteen ages. So this session will specifically I'll try to concentrate on storytelling tools which may be effective and useful specifically and precisely for the children. For other ages groups we will do more. So just a brief introduction about me to begin with. I am Ratnadip Acharya. I am Bombayite. I stay in Bombay for last many years, many decades in fact. I am a novelist and occasionally write short stories as well in different anthologies and collection of stories. Apart from that, I write for Times of India, that newspaper, and in many collection of Chicken Soup for the Soul that the inspiring stories published. There I contributed many write-ups, but usually what I mostly work on is novels. So let's begin the session, and before I start, there is a small request specifically to the children. So as you listen to the session, you naturally some question will come to your mind. While you watch it, kindly write to the questions to me. If it is posted on YouTube or anywhere, wherever it is posted or wherever you get to see, just write the questions, the links below. If I get an opportunity, I will love to reply to all the questions which you may have for the session. Okay, so first thing which we must understand before this exercise starts, or before we start this exercising, why storytelling is important and why storytelling should be a part of our regular growth. Look, if you divide our entire study things you do in school and as an extracurricular activity, you naturally develop certain understanding, the utility of it, the purpose of it, and why you are doing it. Suppose you are doing working on science, mathematics, or whatever the science you have, you know somewhere in your future life you are going to use it. It has some utility. Similarly, if you are into sports, whatever you are playing, either for that particular moment you are enjoying it, or you know it is helping you in your physical and mental well-being. So in that way, where does story writing or storytelling or story creating fall? That's a most important thing, because the moment you understand the storytelling, story writing, or creating anything for that matter, any tenets of art, music, painting, how and why is it going to benefit me or you, then only it is going to be interesting, and you find some go within you to work on it. Now first thing is this: science has his own arena, own realm of working. It specifically works on logic. So it doesn't give you an opportunity to do whatever you want to. It has some defined laws, defined rules. You have to learn the rules, and then according to rules you are supposed to do certain things. Even in sports, some sports are there, you are involved in it, and some guidelines are there, you follow it, it helps you grow physically and mentally. But when it comes to arts, this entire thing of arts, whether literature, music, painting, or any other things, music composing, there is an abundant field of limitless opportunity where you can allow your mind go free hand. It means there is no defined laws and rules to guide you. If you are if you have a wonderful imagination, you can create anything you want to. And story writing as being a form of art, being a part of art, is having all this beautiful and impalpable benefits. Suppose you devise a story, okay, you devise a story, whatever the story may be. Now you see, the story is devised by you. If it is read by someone whom you do not know, whom you haven't seen, whom you will never meet, and he or she writes to you that this story has given me a few moments of happiness, it is going to be a priceless feeling for you. Secondly, when you devise a story, there is no limitation, or there is no written guideline. These are the guidelines you have to follow. There are certain tools which may help you write a better story, but otherwise there is no certain guidelines. That's why there are so many ways of writing, right from fiction to science fiction to magical realism, so many types, adventure, thriller, mystery, the mixing of all that. So, so what actually is happening, it is giving you a huge opportunity to use your mind. You never know the power, the ways, the means, the distances your mind may travel when you start imagining. So, this story writing is like a building your imagination, building your creativity, and through your creativity and through your imagination, see, the word imagination is so beautiful. It has come from a word image. Means you build images in your mind, and one image after another you add them and form a beautiful story, a beautiful novel, a beautiful painting. Okay, and this piece of art is some way, however small it is, however big it is going to be immortal in a way, because every piece of art, whether known or unknown, it by nature itself is immortal, because it has come to earth with some purpose. So, this is how story writing, not being directly benefiting you like science or sports do, is improving and enhancing your mental area and giving you a new vision and dimension to know yourself better. Okay. So, this is not exactly the benefit, this is what happens when you are into story writing or any creative work. Okay. Now, we have discussed the benefits of story writing, and not exactly tangible, but the benefits, that how it is going to contribute to our life. Now, the very interesting thing which I usually tell all children whenever I meet them in some session or something, as a child or as a group of children, you have an added not exactly, I should not call it a benefit, added opportunity to build a better story. You know why? Have you noticed one thing? Whenever it comes to a story for a child, the stories, in these stories, usually this animals speak, even a tree speak, even a piece of stone has a life. It is because so obviously the area of imagination is much larger than the stories which are made for adults. Okay? So, as a child, you have got a limitless imagination, because child being comparatively newer to the world watches everything with more wonder and surprise. So, the moment you watch, a child watches a tree, a frog, rain, everything with wonder, because everything is new for it. So, the moment you watch everything which are normal, which eventually become normal as you grow up, so as a child those are new for you, so you find stories in them also. Okay, that's why you will find the children's stories about, and more are about animals, through animals. Even our famous Panchatantra written by Vishnu Sharma, all the stories are about animals. Animals are telling it through those stories, them some message is coming, which is a message, universal message for the allegorical, or this is called allegorical story. You must have heard this Aesop story from Greece. He was a Greek Aesop, and those allegorical stories are also same kind of. Okay, the stories will be told through some animals, and some wonderful message which is relevant to our life will come as the outcome. So, same way, as a child, you have a limitless reservoir of imagination, which slowly usually narrows down as we grow up. because we get to know there's obviously a tree can't speak with us, a frog will not speak with us, a bird will not speak with us. So obviously our imagination narrow and our storyline becomes more human centric. But as a child, you do not have that, you don't have this demarcation between animate and inanimate, between animals and human being. So you have a huge area of story writing, huge things about which you can build up a story. So this is what, and these stories are more original, more authentic, and can have more impact in a long run to many people. Okay. So as a child, always remember that not that you are a child, so you can't build a new story, original story, beautiful story, and the story which will not touch others' heart. It is not at all true. These are the reasons, as I mentioned, you can build up wonderful stories as well. Now, second, another point comes now after this, how to build a story. Okay. Now, this is the most essential part of this entire session, how to build a story and what the story should be, what story writing is all about. Now, building a story is a huge and a vast and a rather a limitless session, because as I told you, stories, novels are having so many genres, so many parts, so many kinds, so many flavors, that it is not impossible to squeeze it. Even short stories also, short stories are having so many different flavors. But essentially a story has three parts. Okay, you begin the story, it is the beginning part of the story. Suppose as a child you are writing a story of 1000 words or 500 words, it will have a certain beginning. In the beginning, what you are supposed to do, you are supposed to introduce the characters which around which the story will revolve. Okay, you introduce certain characters and the story will be about them or around them. In the middle part, you narrate the story, what actually is going between those particular characters, whether they are animals, whether they are human beings, whether they are trees, whether three pieces of stones are talking, whether few pieces of furniture at your place, sofa is talking to the chair, sofa is talking to the table is telling the sofa, see, the coffee mug was kept on me, I have become dirty, nobody is taking care of me. Sofa says, I feel bad for you, but same thing happens to me also, people come and see it, my springs get squeezed. So this can be a story, then it ends some way. Okay. So first, in this, suppose this is the story. So at the beginning, what you have done, you have introduced the table and the sofa. So like this, whatever the characters your story has, you introduce those characters at the start. Okay, that is the beginning part. In the second part, through narration, direct and indirect narration, means the characters of your story are talking to each other, or through descriptive way, means you are writing as a third person, you are writing, these are the events happening, you elaborate how the story is going ahead. Okay, and what are the events you are going to describe, and how you are building up a concern in the readers, or rather than concern, a curiosity in the reader, why a reader should be eager to understand or to know what is going to happen next. Okay. So it is the middle part of the story. Now comes the third part or the last part of the story, which is called ending. Okay. Before, there is no as such a perfect ending of a story. Okay, because the ending has to be something which naturally the story demands and which naturally you feel like writing, but it is preferred to end the story in such a way, because the story is a narration. This narration is taking the human mind, your reader's mind, to a certain direction, to a certain consequences. That's okay, these are the things must be going to happen. But if you can end the story in such a way that what they thought of, and you have ended in a slightly different way, so they are going to get a jerk. That is exactly like a jokes. Jokes ends in such a way that what you have thought of about the story, and at the end you get a jerk. So you get a, that is called a beautiful thing, is called surprise ending. So well, that is a again a vast subject, we will not go much detail into it. So this is how a story should be ended, and a perfect story can be written and devised. Okay, so as such there is nothing like perfect. It is like a whole reservoir of imagination and thoughts and ideas. You enter there, you take certain things from it, and with the help of it you reach a result. The result should be such like that. First of all, you should feel happy that this is the ending I have given, or this is the ending everybody will love to hear. Or some another thing, suppose some character you have devised which is an unjust, cruel character. So you make the ending such that the cruel character got a punishment, it got a punishment, so the readers felt if a wrongdoer will get a punishment. It is a kind of message. Or you can leave it in another way, that somebody, two characters, suppose two deer, two foxes, or two other characters, they are very much animosity, means there are lots of fighting, quarreling between them. Then something happens, a storm comes, a flood comes, and it brought them close to each other. In a, I mean, everything is getting drowned. So on a peak of a hill, somewhere they took shelter, and then they converged and got to know that they could be the best friend. And when the flood subsided, they came down and they started spreading the message of friendship to everywhere, isn't it? So like this, whether it's a human being or animal, you can make the correct, I mean, your story must have some objective, isn't it? Whenever you are writing a story, you from beginning to end, you are carrying with an objective, because this is the objective I want to reach the end. At the end of the story, certain objective you have to reach. So for that you will build certain character, some conversation you will give, some incident you will describe, and then slowly you will narrow down to a ending. Okay. So I hope with the help of this little description that I have given, the little narration I have given about the story writing, you can definitely devise, manufacture and create wonderful stories, and your stories will mesmerize and surprise your listeners. And from whichever part of the country you are watching it, in the morning or night or evening or anywhere, I wish you all best of luck and wish you a wonderful creative journey. Okay, thanks a lot. Namaskar, and hope again in another session we'll meet, and then I can, if this is a longer session, I can tell you about more authors, the kind of stories they devised, the reason for devising, and what are the things we can learn and make our creative journey more fruitful and wonderful. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for listening to me. It is Ratnadip Acharya. Namaskar.